All right, it's finally over. The 12th and final film, Friday the 13th, the remake. I went into this movie with, in the theaters when it came out, I went into this movie with pretty high expectations. I mean, I really liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with Jessica Biel. So when I saw that, the same producers and, Platinum Dunes, those people were behind this, and that this had reverted back to Paramount after 3 films being away from it, where Jason basically took a different turn. Like once New Line got a hold of the Friday the 13th franchise, that's when we changed things up a bunch. That was when we got Jason Goes to Hell, then Jason X, then Freddy vs. Jason. Which changing things up isn't a bad thing. I fully enjoyed it, Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason. I mean, I made my point that I didn't like Jason Goes to Hell. So when I heard that this was, going back to Paramount, and that was, some of the people behind Texas Chainsaw Massacre and whatever, it was like, oh my God, this could be fucking amazing. And then we started, like, we got a poster and we got a trailer, and I was like, all right, this is looking pretty cool. This is looking all right. And I went to the theater, and I went in knowing it was going to be like a remake, and they said that they were probably going to cover, at least a couple films in the original series in this one. And I was like, oh wow, there's like a lot I could play around with here. You could really play off of a lot of stuff. That's cool that they're going to do that. And so when I sat in the theater, I remember just sitting there thinking, if you take out the opening credits, which is basically them trying to remake part 1 in 2 minutes, if you take that out, this is basically just a Friday the 13th sequel. I mean, there's really nothing to say this is a remake. I mean, you've got, the main guy who's looking for his sister, so he's a play on, the dude in 4. Like, you get it. I mean, I'm a fan of the franchise. I get the little subtle nods, and, he wears the bag over his head like in 2, and he gets the new mask like in 3. So it's like a combination of 1 through 4, all in one. But not really. I mean, not really. If you were to take out just little seconds here and there, this is just a straight up sequel. It didn't feel like a reimagining at all. And I think that the majority of fans who went to see this, or even new people to the franchise, probably got the film that they wanted. They wanted a bunch of kids to just go out in the woods and have sex, do drugs, and get killed. And that's exactly what this movie is. And I'm not saying that's not what this movie needed to be. But I personally didn't like it then. I think I watched it once since. I wasn't a big fan. I went into it this time completely open to it again. I was like, all right, man, I'm just going to sit down this time for real and just give it all its credit. And I will say nice things about it. I have definitely things I like. But as always, I just did not care for this movie. Now, I know that a lot of people like this movie and love this movie, and that's fine. I've always said that. I'm not here to debate on whether it's a good movie or not. I don't believe in good movies. I believe that you like a movie or you don't like a movie, and that is it. You can argue whichever way you want. A movie only exists for a person to view. It's there. Art is subjective. I like it. You hate it. Doesn't make it anything. Just makes it a film. It doesn't change with your opinion. I will say this, though, for sure, and I know this to be true. And this is true of every generation, no doubt about it. But I can only speak for myself. We are much harder on film that comes out now than we once would have been. Like, if this was a Friday the 13th film from the 80s, like Jason Goes to Manhattan, or Jason Takes Manhattan, sorry, or New Blood or whatever. One of those films where it's different and it's kind of, a little weird and whatever. And it's like, I'm okay with that film because it came out in the 80s and I grew up with it. So if I did grow up with this one, it was part of that original 8 series, I probably would be like, yeah, it's fine. I don't like this and that, but whatever. It's it's nostalgia. So I do think that they get a little bit more of a pass than, say, a film that comes out now. We're judging it harder. Like the new Halloween, when it comes out, we're going to be judging that movie much harder than we would have if it was, say, part 4 or 5 or something. Because if like Halloween, almost any of the sequels in the Halloween franchise, Friday the 13th, whatever, came out today, shit, even if the originals, if Halloween came out today, it would be shit on by tons and tons and tons of people. But because it's a classic, we just ignore it. And so I do understand that, and I'm going to acknowledge that. I wanted to say that about this movie, but I also wanted to say that about, the other ones that I watched, like 7 and 8 and whatnot. Because as much as I can enjoy those movies from nostalgia and these and that, when I was watching them again now, I realized that 7 and 8 aren't great. And I never really looked at it like that before. Like I knew they weren't in the back of my mind, but like I acknowledged them this time. Like, oh wow, this is mostly nostalgic. Anyway, let's get into this film and why I didn't like it and things that I did. So yeah, this opening is just basically a remake of part 1. You got the mom and she gets her head chopped off. I did like that Jason comes out and sees it happen. Like you see that he sees it happen. And the other ones, it's just, rumored that he may have been there. It was part of the myth. It was like, maybe he saw it, and that's cool. I mean, I like that he saw it. I like that he took the head. I like, that's good throwbacks, and it explains a little bit. So I did like that. I do love that they did the Thag throwback, from part 2. I thought that was really cool. I liked the look of it for the most part. I thought it was, it was a new take on it, and it looked cool. He looked scary and creepy. I like that Jason lives at the campgrounds. I like that idea for sure. But the fact that he has like an underground lair where he keeps a collection of shit he's taken from his victims, and that he sets like booby traps and little bells for when people walk by, and that he keeps a hostage because he thinks it's his mom. I mean, why would he treat his mom like that? Or I don't know what he's doing with her then. So I'm not sure. Like she reminds him of his mom, so he keeps her around. But is he feeding her? How's she living? Like that. It's a Friday the 13th movie, so I'm not trying to get too much into plot here. Even though I would have definitely enjoyed the plot to be much better. I know I will fight with people to the death on that. They don't want story. They just want to see people die. Whatever. But yeah, I didn't care for the underground layer. Comes out in a bus and he's got like bear traps and I don't know. It's not Jason to me at all. I mean, I get it. He went to camp. He's a little bit of a Boy Scout, I guess. That was an addition I didn't care for. I almost don't like any of the kids in this movie. Now, I will say that I absolutely love The Flash, the CW TV show with Daniel Panabaker. And I also love Supernatural, which is also a CW show, with Jared, the main kid in this. So I really like both of them. But I didn't truly care about them here. And I didn't care. And when I say care, I didn't mean like I need to be their best friend and, send them a card on Christmas, right? That's not what I mean. Like, I didn't care for almost any dialogue in this film. The only character that made me laugh or made me genuinely like have any feeling or emotion or anything, and that was purely just laughter because I thought he was funny, was the Asian kid. Chewie was his character's name. I thought he said some shit that was really funny to me. Everyone else is just a, you know, standard archetype, and they play their roles okay, but their dialogue to me is just so fake, so studio written. It doesn't feel like kids talking. It doesn't feel like, you know, older. I guess they're not teens. They're like later, like early 20s. But especially like that opening scene with the kids going to the pot field and their dialogue and their back and I don't care for any of it at all. So outside of the kills, which there isn't a shitload of them in this movie, and the gore isn't all that fantastic. There really isn't almost any. I mean, well, I was really paying attention this time. I even got the killer cut here. So this is like the best they had to offer in the gore field. And I'm just like, there really isn't any kills that I'm like, oh, whoa, that was crazy. Ripped the guy in half and he tore this guy's limb off and he was beating him to death with it. And he's shoving a machete up a girl's fucking pussy. Or like, I'm not saying I need that kind of stuff, but it's like, or that's all that inventive, or I'm just off the top of my head. But you know what I mean? Like, everything in this is like, stuck one through her head, and you know, it's all basic generic shit, and we don't really see it. Like, nobody's splitting apart, no one's being ripped apart, there's nothing cool about it. Like, I could take 15 kills from the previous films that are far superior, 20 kills from this, and that shouldn't be, not in 2009 with this budget, and you know, with theaters allowing a lot more than usual. I don't know, it just was so tame and lame to me. Jason looks pretty good. I don't really have a ton of complaints when it comes to him. He's fine. He has a little bit more of like a personality in this. He seems to be more agitated, and he actually seems to care what he looks like. Like, he takes the mask and he puts it on, and he goes and he like checks himself out in the mirror. Like, do I like this? Do I look good? Does this go with my outfit? Like, that's just not Jason to me yet again, but it's okay. I mean, it's not something I'm like pissed about. It's just kind of was like, Jason like putting on a mask and looking at himself in the mirror. Like, I don't know. That's silly. Anyway, I also have to laugh that these guys go down to the lake during what appears to be, I don't know, the summer. And it's a beautiful lake. This family owns like a boat they go out on this lake. And they're literally the only people there. This girl's able to, you know, water ski topless. I mean, don't get me wrong, that scene was fine. I didn't cry when she was skiing around out there topless. It was just like, really? Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just, really, there was nobody out there, just you guys? I guess Jason killed them all. He's cleaning house. Even though Trent is a douchebag, he's my obligatory cunt, which is, I guess, my new phrase here for this series at least. And he's fucking awful, and he's kind of just been typecasted since Transformers, so hopefully he can break out of that, but he does play that douchebag role so well. Maybe he won't, but I don't know if I've seen him in much other than those. But in a way, I'm sitting there like, Daniel Panabaker's character takes off with a guy like that her boyfriend doesn't like and kicks out of his house, and she's just like, doesn't say anything, just jumps up on the back of his motorcycle and disappears for hours and hours. And, you know, when she comes back, he's like cheating on her. And I'm sitting there like, am I supposed to, as an audience member, being like, what an asshole? Like, should he have fucked this girl because his girlfriend did this? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. No. But I have to be like, really? What the fuck did you think was going to happen? It's not like we had some big dramatic drop where she was like, oh my God, you're cheating on me. Thank God. If they did that, I would have been like, shut the fuck up. But I don't know, it was like a moment where I was supposed to be on her side, like, that monster, now she's totally justified with being with this guy, and it's like, she should have had justification before she left with him. So it kind of made me feel like her character was cunty. Although I have to say, I didn't think a hell of a lot of her character because that guy's clearly a fuckhead. And she was with him anyway. Like, that guy had no semblance of like coolness or, you know, anything that remotely looked like a cool guy or like nice or anything. So when I'm sitting there, I'm just like, you're with this guy? Anyway, nor here nor there. I had to talk about it because I just found their character development together and connection and all that was just so weird. She's like this goody two-shoes, like this frat boy cocksucker. And then he's like treats her like shit the entire time. They had no chemistry. They never kissed like one time. They weren't interested in each other. They didn't seem like they were together, but that was her boyfriend. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. Nudity was nice. I mean, there's a bunch of it, and I had no problem with that. There was a line in this movie. This is mostly just a shout out to my brother here, but I had to laugh my ass off again when Trent loses the gun and he just yells, "Where the fuck are you, gun?" I don't know why that fucking scene made me laugh so hard, but Jesus, it did. And the whole ending where Jason is caught on the thing and he's about to go, you know, through the mulcher or whatever the hell that thing is. It's like, for one, if you're going to dispose of the body, why don't you just like kick that thing back on and mulch him up? For two, why would you get rid of the body and let him off of a chain that he can't seem to get off of? Call the police. How are you going to explain that your friends were all murdered if there's no suspect to be found? You're going to get blamed for all of it, seeing as how your fingerprints are everywhere. And the cops have already had to talk to you a few times about talking, you know, basically harassing people about your sister. So this doesn't look good for you. The cop who just told you not to is now dead. And there's no proof otherwise until you were to, you know, here's the killer. And clearly, like, going and ditching the body, like, for what reason did they do that? They thought he was dead, right? So why get rid of the body? Like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. It was just to set up this final scare where he comes through, the most obvious fucking thing ever. I don't know. This movie just doesn't do it for me, clearly. Like, the whole, like, Jason has, like, a bed there that has his name engraved over it. Like, it looked like his almost own personal room in a way, in that, because it was just, like, just that room and just his bed there. And it was like, so I guess his mother works there as the cook, right? So he gets special treatment, but it just, like, when I saw that, it was just another little thing. I was just like, what? Like, that's not like some name plaque that was put, like, the bed frame had his name engraved on it. So what, he grew up there, I'm guessing? Like, that was his house? Maybe they got their own special cabin and she brought it because she thought he was so amazing. So I'm not saying it's terrible. It's just, I don't know. It was another little thing that just irked me when I was watching this. Like, just little stupid things. It was so on the nose. Like, oh, it's Jason's bed. Oh, like, nah, just, yeah. Some of the kills are fine. As I said, I wasn't over them, but the, like, roasting the girl over the fire in the sleeping bag was pretty evil, I will admit. Probably my favorite kill in this movie, and it really basically just has to do with seeing tits, is, you know, he sticks the fucking thing, pulls the girl up out of the water, her boobs come out for a second, then she falls back down. It's more of like a jokey kill. But yeah, I mean, when that's my favorite kill, that's pathetic because it's attached to boobs. Like, I'm a guy and I love boobs, but, like, seriously, that's my takeaway kill, is because I got to see a girl's boobs for an extra couple seconds. Like, that's pathetic. That really is. That makes me realize that, like, there are no really interesting kills in this movie. So, yeah, not a fan. Once again, you can disagree with me all you want. I'm sure there's plenty of people who will be like, I love this movie, and that's fantastic. I hope you did. I never want someone to dislike a movie, but didn't do it for me. Hopefully, you know, they stick with this 2020 40-year anniversary release thing, and we will see yet a better retelling. I don't care what they do. It's just make a good film. I don't care if it's a reboot or whatever. So, well, that's it. Done with the Friday the 13th franchise. Oh, that was a long one, man. I knocked it out pretty quick, though, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Little sneak peek, though. I will be doing a new series after this. I might do a couple, like, random one entry type films. I have a few that have kind of been piling up, newer ones, so I definitely want to get to those. But little sneak peek of my next series I will be reviewing. I bought it just to review it. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Until next time.